Could the Earth be flat? Absolutely not. Even though sensors, lenses, and processing techniques may differ, every image clearly shows the planet's true shape. You might think, is this Photoshop? But some of these pictures date back to the 1950s, decades before Photoshop even existed. We have footage from 1961, 1966, 1969. And these aren't just from the United States, but also from the Soviets, Turkey, Japan, and Europe. Rival nations capturing them at different times with different technology. Today, we even watch live streams from the International Space Station. In short, Earth's roundness is beyond debate. Today, even wealthy tourists are buying tickets to space, and soon everyday people will be posting selfies from orbit. The shape of our planet is no longer an optional belief. It's a demonstrable fact. The Middle Ages are often painted as anti-science, yet even then, most people didn't think the Earth was flat. We've known the truth for over 2,200 years. Social media, however, lets anyone find an audience, and some begin acting as if their false claims have real value. One of the loudest examples of this is the flat Earth belief. According to flat Earth believers, our planet isn't a sphere, but a massive disk. The North Pole sits at the center, while all other continents spread around it. Antarctica, they claim, forms a giant ice wall surrounding the edge, just like in Game of Thrones. But with that idea, the laws of physics immediately fall apart. Gravity, by definition, pulls matter toward its center of mass. Once an object reaches a certain size, that same force molds it into a sphere. That's why every celestial body larger than an asteroid, planets, stars, even black holes, is round. Earth's shape isn't a choice. It's a mathematical inevitability. If it were truly a flat disk, gravity would tear it apart until it reformed as a sphere again. Let's pretend for a moment that a flat Earth could actually exist. In that case, gravity would always pull toward the disk's center. Someone living in Turkey would be pulled one way, while someone in the US would be pulled almost sideways. People would constantly feel as if they were leaning downhill. And it wouldn't just affect people. Oceans would pile up toward the middle, forming a giant bulge of water. Trees would grow at odd angles, and buildings near the edge would have to be built slanted toward the center. On top of that, gravity would become stronger near the edges of the disk. A person weighing 90 kilograms in Turkey might weigh 150 near the rim. In short, nothing would behave the way we actually observe. The Earth's spherical nature even dictates the direction in which hurricanes spin. In the northern hemisphere, they rotate counterclockwise. In the southern hemisphere, clockwise. This happens because of the Coriolis effect, a result of Earth's rotation on its axis. On a flat Earth, though, this phenomenon becomes impossible to explain. A disk can't spin in multiple directions at once. Its inner and outer regions can't rotate in opposite ways. Some flat Earth supporters try to fix this by claiming that different parts of the disk spin differently. But that would mean there's a point where stepping just 1 meter could flip your direction, from east to west instantly. Such a world defies every law of physics. Some flat Earth believers try to solve the problem by claiming the Earth is actually an infinite plane, so gravity supposedly stays constant everywhere. But that idea collapses under basic physics. Nothing in the real universe can be infinitely large. A body with infinite mass or density might exist in math, but never in reality. And if Earth were truly infinite, gravity wouldn't weaken as you moved away from it. Yet we clearly observe the opposite. Gravity is weaker at the top of Mount Everest than at sea level, and astronauts aboard the space station experience only about 90% of Earth's pull. Simply put, this theory doesn't match anything we can measure or observe. Some flat Earth supporters try to escape the problem by simply denying gravity. They claim objects don't fall, heavier ones just sink, like metal in water. But that's completely unscientific. Even buoyancy, the force that makes objects float, depends on gravity to exist. Without gravity, there's no buoyant force at all. Plus, the moon has no atmosphere, yet objects still fall there. Experiments done in vacuum chambers show that objects of different densities fall at the same speed. That single observation destroys the density argument. Denying gravity isn't a correction to science, it's removing the foundation of physics itself. To avoid admitting gravity, some flat Earth believers came up with a strange idea. The Earth isn't pulling us down, it's accelerating upward. And yes, for a short moment, that would mimic the feeling of gravity. Inside a rocket accelerating at 9.81 meters per second squared, you'd feel the same downward force. But here's the fatal flaw. If that acceleration continued non-stop, the Earth would reach the speed of light in just 354 days. And according to physics, no object with mass can ever reach light speed. Denying that means throwing out relativity, orbital mechanics, and even the GPS systems that rely on them. So instead of explaining the universe, this theory breaks every law that keeps it together. If we truly lived on a flat Earth, everyone would see the same stars in the sky. But that's not what we observe. From Turkey, you can see constellations like Ursa Major and Ursa Minor, while people in Australia never see them. Instead, they see completely different constellations, like the Southern Cross and Carina. That's because our planet is round, and people in different locations are literally looking in different directions through space. Even time-lapse photos show this perfectly. In the north, stars rotate counterclockwise, while in the south, they spin the other way. There's no flat geometry that can explain that. Every night, the sky itself confirms that the Earth is round. In our real planet, heavy elements like iron and nickel sank toward the center during formation, creating the metallic core that powers Earth's magnetic field. That core acts like a natural dynamo, generating the magnetic shield that protects our atmosphere. On a flat Earth, gravity would pull everything toward the disk's center, not inward equally, so no stable core could ever form. Without it, there would be no magnetic field, no north or south poles, and no protection from solar radiation. Even more, convection currents that drive plate tectonics couldn't exist, meaning no earthquakes, no mountain formation, and no volcanoes. In short, a flat Earth wouldn't just look wrong, it would be uninhabitable. Over 2,200 years ago, a scientist named Eratosthenes calculated the Earth's circumference using nothing but 2 wells and careful observation. At noon, the wells in Siena were fully lit, while those in Alexandria still cast a shadow. If the Earth were flat, both shadows would be identical, but they weren't. Knowing that sunlight travels in nearly parallel rays, Eratosthenes realized the difference could only exist on a curved surface. He measured the distance between the two cities and compared it to the angle of the shadows. His result? About 39,375 kilometers. Today's measurement is 40,075, less than a 2% difference. In other words, people knew, and even measured, Earth's roundness more than 2 millennia ago. To explain the shadow experiment, flat Earth believers invented a new claim. The Sun isn't a massive distant star. It's a small, nearby light source, only a few thousand kilometers away. Like a flashlight held above your hand, it casts different shadows at different angles. It sounds clever at first, but this idea collapses instantly. In this tiny sun model, you can't explain how Antarctica experiences 6 months of daylight and 6 months of darkness. If the sun were that close, only part of the world could ever be lit at once. Yet we see both day and night happening simultaneously across continents. Worse, in this model, the sun never truly sets. It would just appear smaller on the horizon. But we actually watch it disappear below the horizon every day. In short, even the simplest real-world observations expose the contradictions of a flat Earth. Flat Earth supporters often claim that ships disappearing over the horizon are just a perspective illusion. They say the ship only gets smaller as it moves away, and with enough zoom, you could bring it back. But that's not what we observe. Perspective makes an object shrink evenly, Yet, when we watch a ship, the hull vanishes first, then the mast. That means it's actually going below the curve of the Earth, not just fading away. The same logic applies to lunar eclipses. Every time the Earth's shadow falls on the Moon, it creates a curved line, not a straight one. If the Earth were flat, the shadow would be flat too. But it's always curved because the planet casting it is round. It really is that simple. When all their arguments collapse, flat Earth believers take shelter in conspiracy theories. They claim that millions of scientists, teachers, pilots, engineers, and even governments are all part of one massive lie. But think about it for a second. If the Earth were flat, who would benefit from hiding it? What do we gain from pretending it's round? The answer is simple. No one gains anything. There's nothing to hide. The Earth is exactly what it appears to be, beautifully round. That's the power of science. Truth doesn't fear questions. When logic, evidence, and observation come together, reality always wins. Remember, knowledge grows when shared. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notifications for more science-based content. See you in the next one. Stay curious, stay scientific.